Hello, 7th grade. This is lesson 23. Our objective is how do you subtract mixed numbers when you have to regroup or when you have to borrow. Think about if you're subtracting, 7 from 23. You have to borrow from that 2 in order to subtract the 7 from the 3. So we're doing the same thing now, except for now we're working with mixed numbers. So here's an example they give here in the book. It says, there is 3 1/5 pie on the shelf. If the baker takes away, or they may be sold, a whole pie and 2/5 of another one, how many pies are left on the shelf? So visually, I think it's a little bit easier to understand. So here in the black, I have 3 whole pies, 1, 2, 3, and 1/5 of another pie. So that's represented in the black. Well, the blue, I want to take away 1 2/5. So if I'm going to work with this, I'm going to take away one of them, so I'll just say that one's gone. And I'm going to take away 2/5. Well, here's 1/5 I can take away, but where am I going to get the other 5th from? I'm going to have to take it away from this one. Pretend those are perfect fifths, and I'll take a 5th away from here. So then visually speaking, how much is left? Well, there's a whole one right here. It's 1, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths left over. So there's actually 2 different ways that you can work through this. One of them is by quote-unquote borrowing. This is the way that the book shows. Another way is to use improper fractions. So I'm going to work out the same problem 2 different ways. And you can just pick whichever one you like better and use that on your homework. So here's this first one. It says 3/5 minus 1 7/8. Now first of all, we want to think of 3/5 as like this. This is like saying 3 plus 5/8. That is 3 5/8. So instead of writing it like this, I'm going to write it as 2 plus 8/8 plus 5/8. Now what we've done is notice this number is just 1 less than that, and 8 divided by 8 is just 1. So think of this as 2 plus 1 plus the 5/8. That's going to give me the same thing as this. Okay. Now 8/8 plus 5/8 is going to give me 13/8. So this is 2 13/8. I got the 13/8 by just saying 8 plus 5 is 13. Now I'm going to subtract from that 1 7/8. So I'm thinking about the whole part together. 2 minus 1, that's going to give me 1. And 13/8 minus the 7/8. 13/8 minus 7/8. So I'm just going to say 13 minus 7 is going to give me 6/8. But of course that 6 and the 8 reduce down to give me 3/4. So my answer is 1 3/4. Now the other way to do this is to convert these into improper fractions. Now just remember how to convert them into improper fractions. If I have 3 5/8, I'm going to take this 8 times the 3, and then I'm going to add the 5 and put that on top. So the 8 stays on the bottom. So 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 is 29. I'm going to do the same thing with this other one. 1 7/8. So I'm going to say 8 times 1 plus the 7, so it's 8 plus 7, that's 15. So minus 15/8. Now I'm going to subtract 29 minus 15. So 9 minus 5 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1, so I'm going to have 14/8. 8 goes into that 1 time with a remainder of 6. And then of course that 6/8 will reduce to give me 1 3/4. So notice either route you pick, either the red or the green, you get the exact same answer. So let's try one more like this. But with this, it's going to be slightly different for the second method. So let's go ahead and go with this first method here. I have 6, but instead of writing it as 6, I'm going to write it as 5 plus 4/4. Now I picked this 4 over 4 because my denominator is 4. So then I'm going to subtract from that. So this is like saying 5 and 4 over fourths minus 1 and 3 over 4. So I'm going to look at the 5 minus the 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then 4 over 4 minus 3 over 4. 4 minus 3 is going to give me 1. It's going to be 1 over 4. So 4 and 1/4. This other way, I'm going to think of this as 6 over 1 minus 1 times 3 over 4. So the second one is going to be a little easier actually. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3, 4, 5, 7. So it's going to be 7 over 4. And I need this one to have a denominator of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4. So it's a little bit different, but same basic concept. So 6 times 4 is 24 divided by 4. Now again, if I just took 24 and divided by 4, I would get 6, which is what I have up here. So here we go. 24 minus 7, that's going to be like 20 minus 3. So it's going to be 17 over 4. 4 goes into 17 4 times, which is 4 times 4 is 16 with a remainder of 1. So 4 and 1/4. So either method you like better, feel free to do that, or if you want to switch back and forth between the two, feel free to do that as well. Your homework starts on page 166. You can do all of the practice set, all of those, all of them from lessons 23, all of them from lessons 22, and then 12 more of your choice.